Hi everybody, Dr. Anjana Bana here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are doing a Spill the Tea with Dr. B, Joon's coffee bar edition, and in between shots, so we've done a few videos here already and I'm calling it off-camera interrogations. Yusuf and Zakira were asking me some of the weirdest questions. You know, I always say drop them in the comments down below, but I thought, you know, what they were asking me was valuable, and I thought, you know what, let me do a little video on all the stuff they were asking me on the side. So the first video we did was all these different botulinum toxins, and I mentioned something about injecting it into your skin, not just into the muscle, so you don't frown and do this and you don't make the crow's feet. So you inject into the skin. You know, people do it for minimizing pore size, for reducing oiliness, rosacea. And Zakir asked me, if you inject it, oh, and then one of the other things was hyperpigmentation. So one of the botulinum toxins, small sample size, 15 people, but still study done, we minimize some hyperpigmentation. And she asked if it was used for that, if it was used for hyperpigmentation, injected into the skin, would you get like a stuffed mouth like this? And the answer would be no. Or yes, it depends on your injector, but ordinarily no, because it's injected just into the dermis, just under the first layer of skin, small little papules, and it's almost always like hyper dilute, like not the normal dilution. So, you know, no fear, you shouldn't get a stuffed mouth, it shouldn't affect your muscles unless it's injected too deep. So there is that risk factor. The other thing I was talking about is the MIC. So, you know, that was a very quick video just on the top of my head, but the MIC lipotropic injections, she asked like exactly what it does. So it metabolizes fat, helps with fat metabolism. So it helps your body rid itself of like body store fat as well as fat in the liver. And then how often do you use this? So people can come into practice and have an injection there. They often do that twice a week, but a lot of patients use this at home intramuscularly, like into the muscle. So there's different protocols. Twice a week is one. The other one is like a sort of a booster protocol. It's 1 ml once a day for 7 days, thereafter once a week. It's important to remember, yes, you know, something like this, especially when paired with a B12, isn't sustainable over the long term. So yes, it can, you know, perhaps help you if you're already active and already have an eating plan, but you can't do this forever. All right. The other video we were talking about CAHA, calcium hydroxyapatite. I know I'm saying CAHA and I like the shortened version, but it feels like I always have to clarify and say calcium hydroxyapatite. So one of the fears that are instilled into us about CAHA is that it's going to create bone, and it is a biostimulator, but ordinarily will not create bone if it's injected into the subcutaneous space, or you know, if it's used as a filler, and even if it's used as a filler on top of bone. But I mentioned briefly in my video, some oculoplastic surgeons actually scrape across the orbit and place it there to stimulate some sort of bone. And Zakir asked, you know, is it possible that you could do that with, say, an amputated limb across the knee and scrape across and create bone, like grow a whole new leg? Even though this is a component of it, no, you can't. So it's a component of teeth and bone, but you can't. But you know, the nice thing about this CAHA is, I was asking the other an orthopedic surgeon, he also had a little interview with us. It was an oral microbiome, but about calcium hydroxyapatite toothpaste. So you can use this as a toothpaste, but also, yes, nothing. No, there will be no bone. So, and then the next video we were talking about necks and how not to neglect your neck, because people are all about the face. So the treatments we are talking about treatments related to the neck, and the the what afflicts the neck. Not like your neck have like terrible afflictions, but one of the questions was these lines here, these venous lines, aren't they normal? Aren't they natural? And the question, like the answer is like, yes, they are normal, and it's a normal part of aging, and aging is very normal and natural. So it is normal to have a couple of light lines here. I think, you know, in a lot of us, they're premature because of the way we hold our necks, excessive sitting, poor posture, looking at our, you know, this year we're constantly looking at it. And if they are treated, that was the question, if you do treat them, will it obliterate them? Probably not. So it'll soften them up, much like these nasolabial folds. So people don't like these folds and they don't like these lines. It'll soften them, it'll reduce them, but in the long run, because we do these motions repeatedly, no, you won't get rid of it completely. But it's a preventative. It's a preventative from having them look worse, you know. So because you get to a stage where it's very deep and it does get people down a little bit. So it's nice to start when they're still a little fine, so you can prevent them from getting any worse and improve them a little bit. Another thing, you know, I just touched on nasolabial folds. So people are obsessed with getting like a completely smooth finish. Not nobody, but like, you know, most people don't look like that in real life, and a nasolabial fold is pretty normal. And they say if you overfill the area, you actually start to look almost like a simian. So it's a very fake look, and we have to look at the face and the neck in a holistic way. Like, yes, you can have maybe like complete smoothness here, but will you look more beautiful? Will you look enhanced? Will you look more youthful? And it's doubtful. And you remember, if you look and if you think about your kids, they have a little tear trough, they have some nasolabial folds, so that's normal. And then Yusuf is now being into gym, and then I was mentioning the platysma muscle and how it's also attached to the pecs. So when you are doing your chest press and you're doing all of that stuff and you like straining, yes, it is pulling down on your neck. So you'll find when we do treat these platysmal bands, yes, you'll get like a nice neck if it's indicated, but you'll find it more difficult to do abs. You'll actually feel it in your abs or in your core because you don't have these accessory muscles. You might find it more difficult to do a backstroke. You have to think really hard to lift your head off the pillow. So even though it's an accessory muscle, like the way the appendix is an accessory in there, it does it's become part of our neck, you know, part of the function. And he asked, you know, when you're doing chest exercises, does it also help? It's actually doing the opposite. So it's pulling the face and the neck down more. That doesn't mean you mustn't do your resistance training. It just means, you know, if you need it, you can have some botulinum toxin in your neck. The other question that was addressed off camera was to do with the buttock area. So we discussed that sort of enhancement using biostimulators, peels, needling, things like that. And the question was, when can you get back to your normal life? So exercise, sitting, walking, and other normal life activities. When can you get back to that? It depends, I guess. It depends how tender you are in the area. Also, I wouldn't say that day. I'd give it about 48 to 72 hours before, you know, doing any exercise, normal activities. Of course, you'll have to sit down, just be mindful of being tender in the area, but any other strenuous activities, 48 to 72 hours. And then, you know, we had an entire discussion relating to butts. It's, you know, if you look at Spotify, there's a whole playlist. There's a whole playlist about the butt, and someone once said to me, you know, that they've never heard a song about a small butt. So there's like 31 songs there in a whole playlist. I checked it out before when I was doing a bit of research for the video. And what trends are changing in terms of, you know, what people want. And people seem to be obsessed with it, you know, obsessed with the look of it, obsessed with the shape of it. So, and there's been a move from like a larger but to a more shapely, round, lifted. But so that's where the trend seems to be going. And I don't know what's influencing this. Like what, there's perception drift that you get on social media, but I can tell you myself that if I look at my TikTok FYP, there'll be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on how to do a Bulgarian split properly, how to do a hip thrust, the 4 best exercises for that. So I don't know if the algorithm is influencing us to think a certain way, so you can let me know. But hi guys, so that's me down there, pause. We had another question off camera, so this is a little insert to say, in terms of the enhancements I'm talking about, non-surgical enhancements, injectable enhancements, or ablative in terms of, I'm talking like laser, radio frequency, that sort of enhancements. Surgical enhancement, a whole other ball game in terms of post-op care, more extensive, at least 6 weeks, and for 3 months, you have to look after that area. So completely different ball game, just to clarify, non-surgical enhancements. Those are some of the interesting questions that we got off camera. If you have any more interesting questions, I love these questions, please drop them in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye.